Zinaya was 12 when everything changed. For years, it had just been her and Mama, warm dinners, Sunday stories, soft laughs in the small living room. Then came Kwabena. He arrived with flowers and promises, flashing a wide smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Mama seemed happy again, so Zinaya tried to be happy too. She smiled at the wedding, wore the dress Mama picked, and even danced a little. But deep down, her stomach felt tight, like it knew something her heart didn't. At first, Kwabena was polite. He brought groceries, fixed the leaky tap, called Zinaya my girl. But soon, things began to shift. His voice got louder. His tone, sharper. Little rules began to appear, like cracks in a glass. Don't talk back. Close your door quieter. Sit up straight when I'm talking. Then came the bigger ones, no friends over. No going out unless I say so. In this house, I speak last, and loudest. Zinaya watched Mama change too. She laughed less, smiled less. She stopped arguing, started shrinking. And Zinaya? She learned to walk on eggshells. To read his moods like warning signs. The house that once felt full of light now felt like a tight box, with windows that didn't open and air that didn't move. Sometimes at night, Zinaya lay awake, listening to Mama breathe beside her, wondering, where did the laughter go? And how long until it was her voice that disappeared too? Zinaya loved her hair. It was long, thick, and full of life, just like the stories Nanaya used to tell her. Every braid felt like a memory, a piece of her roots. She would sit for hours while Mama gently twisted her hair, singing old songs, laughing together. Her hair wasn't just hair. It was her pride, her identity, her connection to the women who came before her. But Kwabena didn't see it that way. Too wild, he said one morning, frowning at her reflection. Too proud. Too, you. At first, Zinaya didn't understand what that meant. To her. What was wrong with being herself? But then came the rules. One by one, he told her to tie her hair tighter. Then to hide it. Then, one day, he set it straight, no more braids. No more beads. No more showing off. He took away her mirror. Just like that. Said she didn't need it anymore. Said mirrors made girls vain. Zinaya stared at the empty space on the wall for days, brushing her hair in the dark. Then it was her friends. No more sleepovers. No visits. No calls. Her phone went missing. And when the school asked her to join the debate team, something she'd dreamed of, he laughed. Girls should listen, not argue. Mama heard it all. She was there. But she didn't say a word. Not when the mirror disappeared. Not when Zinaya cried in bed. Not even when Kwabena said she couldn't speak in public anymore. Zinaya felt herself shrinking, smaller each day. Her voice, her spark, her light, dimmed. All because someone couldn't stand her shine. All because being to you was suddenly a crime. But deep inside, under the silence and the pain, her roots were still there. Waiting, holding on. Zinaya had been counting the days. The school fundraiser was coming, and this year, she had been chosen to perform a cultural dance, the kind her grandmother used to teach her with soft claps and steady drums. Her classmates clapped when her name was called. You'll be amazing, they said. She had practiced for weeks, every step, every spin. But more than anything, she was excited to wear her braids, long, golden beads clicking with each movement. They weren't just hair. They were her pride, her power, her voice. That morning, Mama helped her oil her scalp, and for a brief moment, things felt normal, soft fingers, the smell of shea butter, quiet humming. Zinaya looked at herself in the mirror and smiled. She looked strong. She looked like herself. But just as they were about to leave, Kwabena stepped into the hallway. His eyes narrowed the moment he saw her. He didn't say hello. Didn't ask where they were going. Just stared. Then came the anger. Fast. Loud. You want to embarrass me? He shouted, pointing at her braids. Dancing around like a wild thing. You want the whole town to see this mess on your head? Zinaya froze. Her heart pounded. She opened her mouth, but no words came. Mama stood behind her, eyes wide, but again, silent. Kwabena stormed into the kitchen drawer and pulled out scissors. Big, silver ones. No. Zinaya whispered, stepping back. Please. I practiced, it's just a dance. But he didn't listen. He grabbed a handful of her braids. And with one loud snip, the first braid fell. Then another. And another. The beads hit the floor like broken glass. Zinaya didn't scream. She couldn't. Her voice was buried under the sound of scissors cutting, beads clattering, her heart breaking. When he was done, he tossed the hair into the trash like it was nothing. Like she was nothing. "You're not going anywhere," he said. "Not looking like that." And just like that, the dance, the dream, the joy, gone. Zinaya stood there, numb, watching her pride on the floor. And for the first time, she didn't cry. She just felt empty. It happened in front of everyone. The sun was high, the street busy with neighbors chatting, children playing, and music playing softly from someone's window. Zinaya stood near the front steps, dressed in her dance outfit from the day before, still hoping for a second chance. Maybe Mama would speak up. Maybe someone would say she could still go, still perform. Maybe this wasn't the end. Then Kwabena came out of the house, holding the scissors again. Zinaya froze. He didn't shout this time. His voice was calm. Too calm. That made it worse. "You didn't listen," he said, loud enough for the whole street to hear. "You thought you could shame me? In front of people?" Before she could move, before she could run, he grabbed her hair. What was left of it? He started cutting again, right there on the sidewalk. Snip, snip, snip. Braids fell like feathers, soft and slow, landing on the concrete. Someone gasped. A woman across the street covered her mouth. A boy dropped his ball. People stared, unsure what to do. But no one moved. Zinaya stood still, trembling. Her tears slipped down quietly, like they didn't want to be noticed. Her whole body felt numb, like it wasn't hers anymore. Kwabena laughed. "Let the world see what disobedience looks like," he shouted. "Let them watch." And they did. Alma stood at the door. Her arms folded. Her eyes full, but her mouth said nothing. Not one word. Not even when Zinaya looked right at her, silently begging. Nothing. That silence hurt more than the scissors. Zinaya didn't wait. She ran. Past the neighbors. Past the staring eyes. Barefoot down the road, her braids still clutched in her hands like pieces of a broken crown. She didn't know where she was going. She just knew she had to get far, far away. Because when the last braid hit the ground, it wasn't just her hair that fell. It was her spirit. Zinaya didn't stop running until her feet were sore and her legs shook. Dust clung to her skin. Her heart pounded in her chest like a drum. She didn't look back, she couldn't. She just followed the road out of town, past the markets, past the bus stops, past the pain, until finally, she reached the quiet, green path that led to her grandmother's village. When Nanaya opened the door and saw her granddaughter standing there, hair uneven, clothes dusty, eyes full of hurt, she didn't ask questions. She just opened her arms. Zinaya collapsed into them, the tears finally breaking free. She cried and cried, not just from pain, but from relief. Here, at last, she felt safe. That night, by the fire, Zinaya told everything. About Kwabena. About the scissors. About Mama's silence. About the moment her hair, and her hope, hit the ground. Nanaya listened without interrupting. Her hands wrapped around Zinaya's tightly, warm and steady. When the story ended, Nana wiped the tears from her face and said softly, "The same hair they laughed at, will rise like roots from ash." Zinaya looked up, confused. "But how, Nana?" "He cut it all." Nana smiled, slow and wise. "Hair grows back, but so does strength. We will grow both." The next morning, Nana took her into the garden. There were rows of herbs Zinaya had never noticed before: neem, hibiscus, morina, aloe. Nana showed her how to crush leaves, mix oils, make healing pastes. She taught her which roots strengthened hair, which flowers soothed the scalp. Together, they stirred oils in small pots, the sweet smell filling the air. Zinaya's hands became busy. Her heart, a little lighter. For the first time in a long while, she saw herself in the mirror again, not fully healed, but beginning. Every evening, Nana would braid what little hair Zinaya had, whispering old stories with each twist. And every morning, they worked together, planting, learning, healing. Zinaya was no longer running. She was growing. In Nanaya's village, something inside Zinaya slowly began to change. Each day, her hands learned more: how to mix oils, how to feel the strength of a leaf, how to listen to what her hair needed. Her hair, once a symbol of pain and shame, started growing again. Not just in length, but in pride. One morning, while helping Nana apply oil to a neighbor's scalp, Zinaya had an idea. What if we sold this? She asked. The oil, the blends, the freedom it gives. Nana smiled. Then let's start with what you have. They found old glass jars and washed them clean. Zinaya designed tiny handwritten labels. She made 3 blends, one for growth, one for strength, one for healing. She called them freedom oils. At first, they sold to a few neighbors. Then girls from nearby towns started asking for the mix that smells like home. Word spread. Zinaya started offering simple braid styles to go with the oils, styles she called freedom styles. They were soft, bold, beautiful, like her. Girls lined up for them. One day, on a whim, she filmed herself braiding a young girl's hair while explaining the oil she used. She uploaded it online with the caption, "For every girl told her hair is too much, this is for you." She didn't expect much. By the next morning, the video had gone viral. Thousands of views. Comments from across the country. Messages like, "Where can I buy this?" and "Your hands carry magic." Zinaya stared at the screen, speechless. Her fingers shook. Her heart raced. That same evening, she sat with Nanaya under the stars, scrolling through the orders flooding in. She looked at the sky, then down at her short, growing braids, and whispered, "I want to name it something that means we don't stay broken." She paused. Then said it out loud. "Regrow." Nana nodded, eyes shining. Because what was once cut down, can rise again. And just like that, the girl who once ran barefoot and broken was now building something powerful. With her hands, her roots, and her story. The phone rang late at night. Zinaya was sitting on the porch, watching the stars, her fingers still smelling of coconut oil. She didn't recognize the number at first. But something told her to answer. "Hello?" she whispered. There was silence. Then a shaky breath. "Zinaya, it's me. It's Mama." Zinaya froze. Her heart jumped. She hadn't heard Mama's voice in months. It sounded different now, softer, tired, like it had been holding too much for too long. "I had to use a neighbor's phone," Mama whispered. "I didn't know who else to call." Zinaya's throat tightened. "Mama, are you okay?" More silence. Then came the truth, small, broken, and heavy. "He hits me now." Just 3 words. But they crashed into Zinaya like thunder. Mama kept talking, barely above a whisper. "It started after you left, first yelling, then pushing, then worse. I was afraid before, but now, I don't even know who I am anymore." Zinaya closed her eyes, trying not to cry. She could picture it all. The silence, the bruises, the same shrinking fear she had once felt too well. "I should have protected you," Mama said. "I'm sorry. I didn't know how. I was scared." Zinaya wanted to scream, to cry, to say, "Why didn't you come with me?" But she didn't. Instead, she took a deep breath and said the only thing that mattered now. "Don't worry, Mama. I'm coming home." There was another pause. Then Mama asked, "But how? What can we do?" Zinaya looked at the sky again, stars shining above her, strong, unbothered, endless. "I'm not coming back like before," she said quietly. "I'm not scared anymore. I've grown. I've built something. And this time, I'm coming with help." Mama didn't answer right away. But Zinaya could hear the tiny crack of hope returning in her voice. "Okay," she whispered. "I'll wait." After the call ended, Zinaya sat in the quiet for a long time, her hands clenched tight. She wasn't just a scared girl anymore. She was stronger now. And this time, she wasn't running away. She was going back, to set them both free. The car rolled into Kumasi just after sunrise. Zinaya sat in the back seat, dressed in a flowing outfit that matched her energy, calm, bold, and powerful. Her hair, now full and braided with golden beads, shone under her head wrap. She wasn't alone this time. A small media crew traveled with her, filming a documentary about young African entrepreneurs. She had been invited to speak at her old school. Her story had spread far beyond the village, and people wanted to hear it, all of it. As they got closer to the school, her heart began to pound. Not from fear this time, but from something deeper. She was going back to the place where everything had started to fall apart. But now, she was different. She wasn't hiding. She wasn't silent. Crowds had already gathered by the school gate, students, teachers, cameras. Some held posters with her brand name, Regrow. Zinaya stepped out of the car, head high, a soft smile on her lips. Then she saw him. Kwabena. Standing at the gate, arms crossed, eyes burning with the same old anger. "Turn those cameras off," he shouted. "You're not coming in here." He moved toward her, loud and threatening, but before he could take another step, 2 police officers appeared. "Calm. Ready. Kwabena Mensah," one said. "You're under arrest for domestic abuse and child endangerment." Kwabena tried to protest, but the officers didn't listen. The cameras kept rolling as they put him in the car. The crowd watched in silence, then slowly began to clap. Zinaya didn't flinch. She didn't cry. She walked through the school gate, free. Inside, the auditorium was packed. Her old teachers smiled with pride. Students buzzed with excitement. When she stepped onto the stage, the room went quiet. She took a breath, looked at the crowd, and said, "I was once told to be quiet. That my hair, my voice, myself was too much. But I'm here to tell you, there's no such thing as too much when you're being you." The room exploded with cheers. Outside, the headlines had already started spreading. From silence to spotlight, Zinaya returns with power. And for the first time in a long time, the air felt clear. She had come home. Not as a victim, but as a voice. The lights dimmed. The music started, soft drums mixed with the rhythm of clapping hands. The crowd at the youth empowerment event leaned forward, eyes fixed on the stage. Then, Zinaya stepped into the spotlight. She walked slowly, head held high, every step strong and sure. Behind her came a line of girls, young, bold, beautiful, all wearing powerful braid styles, shining beads, and colors that screamed freedom. Each style told a story. And every story started with Zinaya. The crowd gasped, then clapped, then cheered. Zinaya stood in the center of the stage, holding the mic. Her hair was long now, longer than ever before, braided in thick rows that glittered under the lights. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with something bright. Strength. Truth. She looked out at the sea of young faces and said, "There was a time when I thought my hair was the problem. That if I just stayed quiet, stopped shining, I'd be safe." The room went still. "A man once tried to take my pride with a pair of scissors. He said my hair was too wild, too proud, too me." She paused. Took a deep breath. "But this hair," she said, holding a braid between her fingers. "This pride, these roots." She smiled now, wide and fearless. He tried to cut it. But roots always grow back, stronger. The room exploded. Applause. Shouts. Standing ovation. Some were crying. Others chanting her name. The models lined up behind her, raising their fists. They weren't just showing off hairstyles, they were showing survival, culture, history, and healing. Zinaya had turned pain into beauty, silence into power. "This stage," she said over the cheers, "isn't just for me. It's for every girl who was told she had to shrink. For every girl who was told to hide her hair, her voice, herself. Never again." The music rose. The crowd clapped in rhythm. Zinaya stepped back, letting the girls walk forward, one by one, each head held high. This wasn't just a fashion show. This was a revolution braided in beauty, and Zinaya had lit the spark. Zinaya's name was everywhere now, on billboards, in magazines, on TV. But not because she was famous for being pretty or lucky. She was known for something deeper, resilience. She had turned her pain into purpose, her past into power. With the money she earned from Regrow, Zinaya opened her first salon, not in a rich part of town, but right where young girls needed it most. A safe space. A healing space. A place where no one would ever be told their hair was too much. Each salon was more than mirrors and chairs. They offered free workshops, counseling, and hot meals. Zinaya made sure every girl who walked in left not just with beautiful braids, but with her head a little higher. And the women she hired? Survivors. Women who had lived through silence, like her mother. Women who were ready to rebuild. And then, one day, during the grand opening of her biggest salon yet, Zinaya looked to her left, and there was Alma. Standing beside her. Not hiding. Not quiet. But smiling. Free. Her hair was natural now, soft curls falling around her face. She wore a dress Zinaya had picked out, and in her eyes, there was peace Zinaya hadn't seen in years. They cut the ribbon together. And as the cameras flashed and people cheered, Zinaya leaned in and whispered to her mama, "Some scissors cut, others shape." Alma squeezed her hand. And in that moment, all the pain, all the tears, all the silence, felt like something far away. Not forgotten, but transformed. Because Zinaya didn't just survive. She created a world where others could thrive.